The battlefield was chaos. Shields clashed, swords sang through the air, and the screams of dying warriors echoed across the blood-soaked plains of Troy. Amid the carnage, a lone figure stood tall, his golden armor glinting beneath the unforgiving sun. Achilles, the mightiest of the Greek warriors, thirsted for vengeance. His dearest companion had been slain, and now, with rage coursing through his veins, he sought to bring ruin upon Hector, the prince of Troy. As the two champions closed the distance, fate itself seemed to tremble. This was the world of the Iliad, Homer's epic tale of war, honor, and the wrath of gods and men. Welcome to History in a Hurry. I'm Professor Malcolm Mazer, and in this episode we will learn about Homer's epic, the Iliad. Composed around the 8th century BCE, the Iliad is one of the oldest and most influential works of Western literature. It is attributed to the blind poet Homer and tells the story of a brief but pivotal period in the Trojan War, a legendary conflict between the Greeks, Achaeans, and the Trojans. Though the war was said to have lasted 10 years, the Iliad focuses primarily on the events of just a few weeks, emphasizing the themes of glory, vengeance, fate, and the tragic consequences of human pride. At the heart of the story is the rage of Achilles, the greatest warrior of the Greek forces. The epic begins with a bitter dispute between Achilles and Agamemnon, the leader of the Greek army. Agamemnon has taken a woman, Chryseis, as a war prize, but when he is forced to return her to her father, a priest of Apollo, he spitefully seizes Achilles' own prize, Briseis, instead. This insult to his honor infuriates Achilles, who withdraws from the war, refusing to fight for the Greeks any longer. With Achilles absent from battle, the tide turns in favor of the Trojans. Hector, the noble prince of Troy and their greatest warrior, leads his forces in a brutal counterattack. The Greeks suffer heavy losses, and their morale crumbles. Desperate, Agamemnon sends envoys to beg Achilles to return, offering him immense wealth and even Briseis back. But Achilles, still consumed by pride and anger, refuses. He declares that he will not fight and plans to return home, allowing fate to take its course. Meanwhile, the gods themselves take sides in the conflict, further complicating matters. Zeus, Hera, Athena, Apollo, and Aphrodite all manipulate events, using their divine influence to aid or hinder the warriors below. The gods' interventions serve as a reminder of the inescapable power of fate, as no matter how skilled or strong the warriors may be, their destinies are ultimately decided by forces beyond their control. As the Greek situation becomes dire, Patroclus, Achilles' closest friend and companion, cannot stand by any longer. Donning Achilles' armor, he leads the Myrmidons, Achilles' elite warriors, into battle, rallying the Greek forces. Patroclus fights bravely, even pushing the Trojans back to their city gates, but his boldness proves fatal. Hector, believing him to be Achilles, slays Patroclus, stripping him of his borrowed armor. Achilles' grief upon hearing of Patroclus' death is immeasurable. His rage reignites, but this time it is directed at Hector. Consumed by vengeance, Achilles returns to the battlefield, slaughtering countless Trojans in his fury. He finally confronts Hector outside the gates of Troy, and in an intense duel, Achilles kills him, ruthlessly avenging his fallen friend. However, his rage does not subside. He desecrates Hector's body, dragging it behind his chariot around the walls of Troy, refusing to grant him an honorable burial. Yet, in one of the most poignant moments of the epic, Hector's father, King Priam of Troy, secretly enters the Greek camp. In a heart-wrenching plea, he begs Achilles to return his son's body, appealing not as a king, but as a grieving father. Achilles, moved by Priam's sorrow and reminded of his own mortality, finally relents. He returns Hector's body, allowing the Trojans to properly mourn their fallen hero. The epic ends not with the fall of Troy, but with Hector's funeral, leaving the war's ultimate conclusion to later myths and legends. The themes of the Iliad resonate even today. The concept of kleos, glory, and the desire to be remembered drive many of the warriors to great and terrible deeds. Achilles embodies the struggle between personal pride and duty, showing both heroism and deep flaws. The gods' interference highlights the tension between free will and fate, suggesting that no matter how powerful one is, destiny is unavoidable. Despite being written nearly 3,000 years ago, the Iliad continues to influence modern storytelling. Its themes of war, revenge, honor, and loss appear in literature, film, and even philosophy. Figures like Achilles and Hector remain iconic representations of heroism and tragedy. The Trojan War, though mythological, has fascinated historians and archaeologists for centuries. Excavations at the site believed to be ancient Troy in modern-day Turkey have revealed ruins that suggest a great conflict may have occurred there around the 12th or 13th century BCE. Whether or not the Iliad reflects real history, its legacy as an epic tale of human struggle is undeniable. At its core, the Iliad is not just a war story. It is a meditation on mortality, honor, and the cost of vengeance. The tale of Achilles reminds us that even the greatest warriors are bound by fate, and that in the end, it is not just strength but wisdom and compassion that define a hero. Thanks for racing through history with us on History in a Hurry. If you enjoyed today's quick dive into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a fast-paced trip through time. Please reply in the comments with ideas for our next history lesson. See you in the next one.